Hello and welcome back to part 3. We are concluding the calculations. We are doing ice cream, and that the calculations can also be used for ice popsicles and popcorns and other snacks. For ice cream, we will need 1 box of 18 kgs of mangoes, and that we assume that it will be 190 rands. And then we'll also need 4 liters of coconut milk at 270 and 3.85 liters of condensed milk at 260. And when we add them all up, we get a total of 740 rands for this batch. And let's assume that it gives us 20 liters, because remember we started with 18 kgs of mangoes. To produce, like I think I said it before, I keep saying it, you first need to know what you need to do. You need to know the recipe. You need to know what you're going to need and how to combine them. So what we will need to make ice cream, we're going to mix the milks, condensed milk and coconut milk, and then we're going to add peeled mango and taking out the seeds, and then we're going to blend them together in a commercial blender. And then after blending them, you put them in the freezer, and that will give you ice cream. And let's assume that gives us 20 liters. Remember that 20 liters is actually 20,000 milliliters, and that 20 liters, the cost of that 20 liters is 740 rands. So the cost of 1 milliliter of ice cream will be 740 rands divided by 20,000 milliliters, and that will be just under 4 cents, 0.037. And if I pack them in a 1 liter tub, so 1 liter tub will be 1 liter over 20. Remember that we get 20, the batch is 20 liters, so it will be 1 liter over 20 liters multiplied by 740 rands, and that gives me 37 rands for the cost of ice cream both in that tub, without the cost of tub and without branding. But if I want to serve it in smaller packages, in smaller things, say I save it in a small cup or in a cone, then I would need to know, like we've calculated, the cost per milliliter is just under 4 cents. And if a scoop of ice cream is 75 mils and it's heaped, and I want to serve 2 full heaped spoons of ice cream, then the cost will be 75 mils, because 1 spoon is 75 mils times 2 spoons multiplied by 0.07, which is that cost per milliliter, and it will be 5 rand 55 cents. The cone, or that tub, or that small tub, or that small cup of ice cream, it will cost me 5 rand 55 cents without the cost of the tub itself. That is how you calculate it. Then remember we left, let's go back to, we said making, sorry for this, but we said that, yeah, here it is. We said that this was a bit complicated. This, I'd say, it is for people with an understanding of chemistry. If you want to make toothpaste, this you can also, the calculations you also need, they're very similar. The concepts are very similar to others. I think this thing is too bright. Let me just I think it's better. Yeah, it will be very similar to other cosmetics, like if you want to make a facial products or hair products, underarm body deodorant and body lotions. The concept will be the same. But first, what you will need to know the formula and the ingredients that you are going to need. And then within the formula, you also need to know not only the ingredients and how much they cost, and how much in each batch you're going to use. And now for toothpaste, you're going to need hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, it whitens the teeth, and 1 liter of that is 155 rands. You will also need sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate, it removes plaques. Bicarbonate, that is baking soda, it removes plaque, and 4 kgs of that is 299 rands. You'll also need sodium, what is it, sodium pyrophosphate. It prevents the formation of plaque, or it reduces it. It forms at a slower rate, and 1 kg of that is 10 rands. Then you'll also need propylene glycol. This thing is too light, too bright. Let me make it a little darker. Yeah. Propylene glycol, it prevents the solids and the liquids from separating. Basically, it holds them together, because remember, you're going to have water and you have dry ingredients, so it holds them together and it keeps the toothpaste moist. And 1 kg of that is 70 rands. And then you're also going to need dialkyl sodium sulfosuccinate. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It could be sulfosuccinate or sulfosuccinate. I don't know. 100 grams of that is 1098. Then you also need sodium saccharin. That is just for taste. It's a mild sweetener. 100 grams of that is 216 rands. And the formula I was looking at, it says desensitizing ingredient, but not every toothpaste will have this. You probably would have 2 kinds of toothpaste, the normal one and then one for sensitive teeth, for people with sensitive teeth. I left it out when I calculated this thing here below. And then you'll need triclosan. Triclosan is antibacterial agent. It kills bacteria, and 1 kg of that is a bit price, is 1,600 rand. But luckily you don't need a lot of it, because the formula says you need 0.1 to 0.5%. So you really don't need a lot of that. And then water, and water, it will be distilled water, and that distilled water, 25 liters of distilled water is 220 rands. And in the formula, we're not going to use the entire thing. And always remember that we keep saying that whenever you add water, you are definitely going to have bacteria. So to kill the bacteria, to keep the bacteria at bay, you will need preservative. There are different types of preservatives, and they kill different kind of things. You probably will need, you usually need to use more than one, because you find that one is good for yield, the other for yeast, the other one is good for bacteria, the other one is good for mold and all that. You will need to use more than one. I would say if you want to make cosmetics, well, not all cosmetic, but this one seems complicated. You probably would need somebody with a degree in chemistry to write you a formula for this one. But I used to make soap. Well, soap is very different. It's not as complicated. But also remember, you will be handling chemicals, and there's a certain way of handling chemicals. Like when you make soap, you use sodium hydroxide. You pour sodium hydroxide into water. You don't pour water over it, otherwise it will blow up in your face. And there's because you work with chemicals and the hazardous, you have to wear protective, and your employees also have to wear protective clothing. So this one is a bit complicated, but not undoable. You will need someone to write the formula for you, and also to make sure that it's clinically tested that it does work. But the formula, just the basic formula that I wrote, taking from those percentages, is that hydrogen peroxide, we will use 630, and we said hydrogen peroxide 1 liter costs 155. Therefore 1 liter is 1000 mils. Therefore 630 mils will be 630 over 1000 multiplied by 155. That gives us 97 rands and 65 cents. And for water, we'll use 3 liters of water, and then 3 liters over 25. Remember that we said that 25 liters of water is 220. So our 3 liters will be 3 over 25 multiplied by 220, and that will give us 26 rands and 40. Go down that way. I realize that I don't have much time left. Memory on this thing. Sodium bicarbonate is 2243. Propylene glycol We use 3 kgs at 70. Each one is 70, so 70 times 3 is 210. And dioctyl sodium sulfosuccinate, we'll use 0.12 grams. 0.12 over 100 grams multiplied by 1038 is 131. And sodium saccharin, that is for taste, it works out to 25 grams. And triclosan, not a lot of it, we use only 30 grams of it, which is 30 over 1000 multiplied by 1600. It gives us 48 rands. And when we add them all up, we end up with 562 rands and 16 cents. And that will be a batch. And let's assume that it makes 6 liters of toothpaste. And if you want to pack these 6 liters into tubes of 100 mils, remember that 6 liters will be 6,000. Here it is 6,000 milliliters, and I want to pack them into tubes of 100 milliliters. So it will be 6,000 divided by 100 milliliters, and that will give me 60 tubes. And now the batch of 6,000 milliliter or 6 liters is 562 rands and 16 cents. So divide that 500 by 60 tubs or 60 tubes, and that gives him 9 rand and 37 cents. So toothpaste within that tube of 100 mils, it will be 9 rand and 37 cents. But that will be the toothpaste only, without the cost of the tube and without the branding on it. And we will talk a little later in the next video when we talk about pricing. Then we will talk about that. But it's good that you can calculate to the milliliter the cost of that toothpaste in that tube. And it will be the same with soap. It will be the same with underarm deodorants, with a facial moisturizer, with all cosmetics, even right up to the makeup. If you want to make up, and if you want to make lip balm and lipstick, this you first need to know the formula, what you will use, the formula, and the cost of each, and then multiply what you will need, where you will source it, and then multiply the exact amounts. The measurements become very important. The exact amounts that you are using in your batch, in your batch that you are making. So this is what we came up to, 937 cents a tube. This is just to prove that it may look a little complicated, but manufacturing is doable. We can do it. The same concept, you can go, and we can also use it for things like making scooters. We can make scooters. We can make boats, small boats. We've got too many lakes, big known ones like Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, and other less known ones where we can make these things